Welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 show to bring you all things Club America and English.
Oh, what a strike! Club America!
Your hosts for today are Ivan Pineda, Cristian Rosendo, Alexis Juarez, and everyone's favorite cowboy, Dylan Jimenez. Goal! Now let's hit the field and start the show.
America!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Eagle Eye Podcast. And it's been quite some time since we've done a live show, but we're here to talk all things Club America in English, and we're going to be previewing the game against Chivas. That's right, the Clásico Nacional, or as they've rebranded it, the Clásico de México. And here to help me and talk all things America ahead of this match is none other than our own beloved cowboy, Dylan Jimenez, and our boy from Southern California, Chris Rivera. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. I mean, we're here, we're live. Like you said, it's been a while, so I'm pretty excited to talk about all things America, and especially with this Clásico coming up.
Of course. Chris?
Good, man. I'm ready for Saturday. Excuse my dog for barking in the background, but he's hyped too about the game, and we're ready, man. Ready for the Clásico. Ready to beat those Chivas, man, like we normally do. Hopefully.
He's lying.
Yeah, very optimistic.
Very optimistic indeed. And well, gentlemen, there's plenty to talk about on the table. We'll talk about the team and how they're coming into this one, right? Obviously, a victory against Tigres, giving us a pretty good boost of morale. And then Chivas losing at who did they lose against? Slipping my mind here. Anyone?
Yeah, I was about to say Tijuana, but it wasn't Tijuana. It was
No, it was You guys can tell we're not experts.
Let me look it up. They lost.
We definitely should be prepared for this segment.
Yeah.
The point is they're coming off a loss too, so that's not really helping.
Puebla. They lost to Puebla.
Puebla. There you go. I wanted to say Puebla, but I wasn't too sure. But thank you.
I was about to say Mazatlan, but that's the other
Puebla.
rival that lost to them.
Yeah, exactly. But okay, gentlemen, like I said, coming in with quite the morale boost. We'll talk about all this, pandering going on with America and Chivas and hyping up the Clásico. And Chris, we were talking about this before the recording that it seems a little bit flimsical. It doesn't really seem like they're doing much to hype up the Clásico, rather not actually kind of making it dwindle just a little bit. And then we'll get into that a little bit later. But from the get-go, gentlemen, I want to ask you guys, how are you guys feeling coming into this game? I know we talked about the fact that, this is America side that looked very good against Tigres, but Dylan, what America side are we going to get on Saturday?
It's really a question. Obviously, I think you want the side that played when they played Tigres. But I know from past episodes, whenever we talked about this too, we've always said you could throw form out the window because, whenever these two teams play, it just seems like, both teams want to win. But at the end of the day, I think you're going to want the America side that's obviously going to be fluid, passing the ball, obviously being dangerous in the final third and everything, and obviously bagging a few goals to obviously get the win and everything like that. But I think you obviously want that Tigres, not Tigres, the America side that played Tigres this past Saturday.
Yeah, of course. I think that's exactly what we're looking for. That same side. And it sounds like, from what people are reporting outside of the America camp, Tano Ortiz is going to repeat the starting 11, right? Which is ideally what you wanted, right? You don't really want rotation coming into this game, especially if you found a hot form against Tigres. So, Chris, with all this speculation, all these reports coming out of Coapa that Tano Ortiz is going to come out with the same starting 11 against Tigres, how confident do you feel coming into this game?
I feel confident. I think you have to repeat it just because it kind of fixed things from that Pachuca game. I think we're going to see Malagon tested, but I also think you see Cáceres and you see Reyes, and they really did click off the bat, So I think you have to just not move anything. You can't have Layun out there, and you can't have Araujo out there, and you can't have Jimenez out there. I think you got to stick to what we have, right? To what we had against Tigres, and continue that form we showed. And I think we're going to see a more explosive and comfortable America. I mean, that's what I'm hopeful for, because I think Puebla beating Chivas, I think they're gonna try to have this killer mentality, which their players already said they're gonna try to do. Right, that we're gonna suffer for it because of it, because of their loss. But I think them saying that gives them way too much comfort, which is gonna be perfect for our offense.
Okay, nice. I kind of agree a little bit to that statement as well. But again, we'll find out come Saturday. Now, gentlemen, let's just step away a little bit away from the match itself, and let's talk about what these two teams are doing right now in regards to hyping up the Clásico. And let's start off with the name itself, right? The Clásico Nacional has been rebranded, right? I mean, now it's called hashtag Clásico de Mexico. I want to pick you guys' brains exactly in regards to this, but this game has so many names, right? It has right now the Clásico de Mexico, the Super Clásico, the Clásico Nacional, el Clásico de Clásicos. Like the list goes on. Dylan, how do you feel about this whole rebrand of the name itself? Right, it goes from the Clásico, the National Clásico, to now being the Clásico de Mexico.
I don't really feel in a sense of like oh this bothers me or like oh like this is awesome either. I mean I'm just kind of like I guess in between. I was finest. I'm always gonna call it the Clásico Nacional either way. Even if come to Apertura they say oh this is Clásico de Mexico like oh like that doesn't sit right with me I guess in a sense.
It's interesting because I mean everyone has their different ways of naming this game, right? You call it the Clásico Nacional, some people call it the el Super Clásico or Clásico de Clásicos. Chris, I don't know in your household how you guys distinguish this game, but for me at the house or whenever I'm talking to my uncles or anybody in the family, I usually just say El Clásico, and it's off the bat, because technically America has three, but the Clásico, we know exactly who that is against. So for my particular liking, I just call it El Clásico.
Yeah, same here. Clásico. I mean, the other ones are derbies. It's not necessarily a clásico. It for me, that's el clásico. That's the whole like. I think the whole changing. Well, it's not cringe, but it's just like you're not really changing anything. You're just adding to the list. And that's all it is. You're just adding another name to the list, and that's the clásico. It's there's three games that you think of when you say clásico: America Chivas, Barcelona Real Madrid, Boca River. Those are the only three games that you think of, right? Or maybe there's other ones, but those for me those are the three.
I thought you were gonna say Celtic and Rangers.
I don't know about that.
No, but you're right. I mean, when it comes to you hear Clásico, you think of those big three, right? Obviously. And so I don't know, it's interesting because it makes me feel like I don't know if this is a little bit not right in the sense, but it feels like they're kind of gentrifying the Clásico. And not just so much in the name, but you see everything else that they're doing to kind of, you know, go along with the rebranding of the name as
it,
well.
it
You're
feels
talking
very PG. If
It
that
does.
makes
It feels very PG. And our good friend Miggy on Twitter, went on and posted a screenshot of what he had commented. And I'm not gonna be able to say it because, of course, it's a family show. But he's basically alluded to that he wanted violence, in a sense. Uh, so shout out to Miggy for always posting something comical on Twitter. But he's not wrong in the sense that these are the games where you want passion, right? And that's the main thing. You want passion and you want drive. And everything that America and Chivas are doing this week, quote unquote classical week, feels very forced. It doesn't feel
Yeah.
like there's any passion behind everything, right? I mean, Chris, I know you talked about it. You said you didn't really get to see on any of the videos or hear anything or see any of the snippets, but I've caught things here and there. It feels very too formal.
Yeah,
It's not classico esque, right? I mean, you think America Chivas and you think about the brawl that happened in the semifinal in the 80s, right? You think about the hard fought final that was the only final between these two clubs, and you go back and you think about, just in recent times, the whole Giovanni Dos Santos thing and Ochoa coming up, and
Mateus Uribe saying he
and
doesn't know
yeah,
that type stuff. Like,
exactly, right? The whole I no identity thing from them, and then
man,
Henry doing his thing, like, obviously, right? There's things like that that boil the blood, and not just the fans, but the players themselves. The players looked a little too relaxed for my liking. I mean, I get it, and there could have probably been a better way to pit each other, or pit the two sides against each other, and it's just, I just don't like it. It seemed too soft. You saw I don't know if you guys caught a little bit of the podcast that these two teams did, which is between Pocho Guzman and Henry Martin. Just too relaxed, right? In that situation, you kind of want a boxing, kind of scene, when the two guys are like right up next to each other and
yeah.
look like they're, but yeah, you want something like that,
I
right?
seen a video where they asked which player would they take from their side, and like, bro, I don't take any Chivas players. Like that, for me, that's the mentality I want to have. Nobody from your side is good enough than anybody on our side. Even our worst signings ever are better than whatever you have over there. Even if it's not true, but that's the mentality I want to have. And I seen some of these clips, and I see Oscar Jimenez and like you and all laughing. And I'm not asking like, oh, get in their face and all that. I'm not asking all that, but the promoting of this just seems, like I said, too PG, too cartoonish, too
I'm
like,
telling you, it feels too very gentrified in a sense,
yeah, and
if
yeah,
that's the
I think that's
correct term to
exactly the right
use.
word. Go Santos. Yeah, we love our second division. It's our second, our academy team.
Yeah, shout out to our second academy, Team Santos, right there. Shout out to our friend Mr. Thick Rick right there. Rick, we love you. We miss you. We send lots and lots of love all the way from every part, wherever we're podcasting from. Shout out to our friend Ricky for just being an amazing human being. But jumping back onto the topic of what we were saying, yeah, you're right. It's just too soft in a sense, and I don't like it because there was better ways of doing this, right? And I'll maybe get into a little bit of it, but it's just I don't know, Dylan. What's your 2 cents in this?
Yeah, to me, and I was just about to jump in actually, but I think we've said it in the past too, Ivan. It's just like does the Clásico seem like it's just like losing its passion, like it's losing the flair. And when in recent and past podcasts too, that especially whenever we had the Chivas and Norte guys on too, they've kind of felt in the sense the same way too. And so like now just seeing it this way, how it's just like I guess in a sense seemed like forced on us as the fans. Like it just doesn't seem like it's a special anymore, because like I said in the past, it seems like coming up for this week, it just never really felt. I've never really felt the passion. I never really felt the flair, the hype for this game as much as it probably was in the past. And like now seeing all this, and it just kind of makes it feel like just another game at the end of the day when it's really not.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that because you're right. I was gonna allude to that because we've talked about this, and this has maybe been a discussion. What do you want to say, Dylan? For the past 3, almost 4 years that we've had these podcasts before, and we talk about the Clásico, and we talk about like the rivalry and everything, and even with like you mentioned the guys from Chivas del Norte, right? There was always that lack of fire, and you never really came into these games thinking or being nervous or like, oh my god. And maybe this is the first time you thought America was coming into this when you're thinking, I don't really know how this might end for us, but now, I mean, even after the victory against Tigres, you're thinking, I think we're fine. I think we still got their number. So there's a sense of like, yeah, the fire is dwindling a little bit. Chris, I saw you unmuted yourself. Go for
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I was gonna say like this is the perfect time to really hype it up to like instead of this like PG cartoonish type thing. Like I tweeted out saying all this media Chivas and America are doing just for them to end 0-0 is gonna be really annoying because it's like you're putting more like the boys are already in Guadalajara, right? Usually they leave Friday night and
Yeah.
then they play Saturday night. They're already there. They're practicing over there, and to me, it's like you kind of mess up their training schedule for all this media, and it's just like you don't really have to hype. This is how you promote this game. Chivas is finally ahead of America, even if it's by a point in the table. This is their first season, and I don't know how long where they're actually looking good. In America, yeah, you could say they're struggling this and that. but don't take America struggles and compare it to anybody else because we're one are in our bad in a bad season. We're only 1 point behind them, right? So it's still like if on paper you could sit here and promote it as such. Like it's gonna be a very intense game, offensive game because Tano plays very offensive and Chivas, from what I've seen, play a very offensive game too, and their goalkeeper isn't necessarily that great either. So you could promote and say this game might be a lot of goals. Instead, we're kind of going with this like, well, which player would you take? Which player would that? It's just like the promoting's off, and it's just very I don't know, like we keep on saying cartoonish, PG, like like the Mexican neighborhood just got invaded by a bunch of rich, wealthy white people, like Ivan is saying, but it's just I don't know. This week should have been way more intense, at least for us fans.
Yeah. And I mean, this has nothing to do with the whole coverage of things, but I would have liked them to include something in English for the fan base here in the United States. And this is something that they quote unquote want to have. And look, sure, maybe I'm being a little bit biased and a little salty that the fact that they aren't taking into consideration anyone. But I'm not just talking America, I'm talking Chivas as well. They could have done a way much better job in this. They could have. Chivas, I think, is doing a much better job on the English side of things. The interacting with fans, going and doing a fantastic job reaching out to their side of their community. Where I think America has lacked that, and it's no surprise because hey, I mean, if you guys haven't noticed it, and we'll kind of spoil alert here for you guys, no one's really running the admin account. At least no one that's dedicated in
Yeah.
the English side of things. So that's why there's been that lack of. And you see it, just go over to their Twitter account, right? They're
They
doing a
last tweeted two
raffle.
days ago. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing a raffle. You guys want to know how many? There's one tweet, and I don't know if it's still like this to this moment because I don't have the opportunity to check right now, but there is only been one entry, and so far that person has been winning for the past 2 days. So I mean, it just goes to show that America could do a much better job at doing stuff like this, and
I
you
can
look from the
confirm
side of
they're the
things.
only person.
Yeah,
It's a day after, and they're the only person. And they're the only. I like their tweet. I hope they win. But it's funny that it's only one person participating in a 6 ticket. Like it's not one ticket; it's 6 family pack ticket that they're
exactly.
giving away. Like anybody else does this. Like if we do that, more people participate. Like for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is like they had an opportunity to hype it up, and I know why. Maybe because I don't think what they've done has been accessible to people here in the states, mainly because Telemundo has the rights to this game for this match, so it's not through the internet. If it was the other way around, I think you would see America doing more. But
That is true. I didn't think about that.
yeah, so I think on that sense I'd maybe give them a little bit of a pass, but still, like you have an option to still present a face to the English side of things, and I think they could have found a way to make it work, right? And heck, even if it's not even if it's not us, right? They have a great outlet in Jennifer Munoz that they could have easily brought in, and they could have brought in someone on the Chivas side as well, done English, and just kind of gone back and forth in that sense. It's like we're doing their job for free, and it's like at least have a little courtesy, and at least they had the dignity or the decency, excuse me, to steal our ideas. Hyping up the classical week, doing the whole e-football thing, right? Now it's gonna be on pass, not FIFA, so it's probably not gonna be the same. um but we kind of, and I want to brag a little bit here on our end, and as well on the Chivas del Norte end. I feel like we build maybe we place the building blocks for them to do something like this. And am I wrong? Am I stretching here, Dylan? And
Yeah,
you
you are.
find a way to ground me.
You're very stretching. So
I don't know, but regardless, this whole hype week is just eh, been very
it
flat.
it's so far stretched that Stretch Armstrong couldn't even stretch that far, Ivan.
Well, I guess I got to run for my money there in that sense. But uh, I don't know. What's going on today? Today's the eFootball match, and then I think there was media day as well. I think today was it the press conference, or was that going to be another
I
day?
honestly didn't even follow the schedule. I just see everything on TikTok, and I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. Like I see them having fun with each other. And it's just like, I hope there's not that friendly once the game starts, because I'm gonna be very annoyed if it's 0-0. Like I said, I'm gonna be very annoyed because it's like you guys kind of grew love instead of like this like intense feeling to each other. Like don't love each
I,
other. Love each other
I
in the national team or something, but not with us. You know.
I need another controversy and just like have somebody swap jerseys, like America player swap
Oh.
jerseys with the Chivas
Like last
player,
time?
like Cordova.
Ooh, can you imagine? And let's just paint the picture here, right? Let's the biggest controversy in the world, right? Miguel Ayun swaps jerseys with who do you want?
Who do we
Um,
hate the most over there?
I don't know.
Pollo Briseño, is he still there?
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think so.
him. Yeah, I think him.
What is that?
Probably him.
Ponce. I hate Ponce, bro. I always tell people like, and I'm sure every America fan listening to, there's players from Chivas that if I were to ever be playing against them, like if I play professionally, I just swing at them, bro. Like Reynoso comes to mind, Volpo comes to mind. Like I'm just saying, like I guess that's the type of annoying thing we're talking about this week, right? That's all friendly, and like there's just some players where you're just like, bro, I can't stand you. Like that's Ponce to me. I can't stand them, bro. I don't like them.
You know what? I don't know. I think it's either like a player that's like already not in good terms with America fandom, like you or Oscar Jimenez or something like that, or this is never gonna happen. But can you imagine this? Tan Ortiz switching his blazer with the manager from Chivas.
Or
Oh,
Fidalgo. Like imagine it's like two players that like each side loves and already
Yeah.
idolizes.
Oh.
Like it's Fidalgo and Guzman. They just like, all right, bro,
Oh,
like
yeah.
good game, and they start switching their jerseys. Like, oh, I would be so mad. Imagine it's like Valdez. Like people already hate him because he wears the 10, and they remind them of Rolfi Montenegro. Like, there's some players that are from our side that are like borderline hated, bro, and that's Cabecita and Valdez, in my opinion.
Or do you just like do you give Sendejas and a pass if he swaps jerseys with Oso Gonzalez? All these hypotheticals, they're great, they're wonderful.
Or they
We'll
wear
see.
the opposites, their old jerseys underneath, and like when they score, they just take it off and just show off their.
Oh man, I don't
no,
know.
no. What this game needs is freaking Zendejas to start one half with America, and then the other half just switch jerseys and go play with Chivas the second half.
Yeah.
So I got a question. For a while, there's been, and I know Ivan knows what I'm talking about because his favorite player was criticized for this. For a while, Ochoa would be criticized over leadership, right? That he didn't show the leadership, he didn't put the team in front, type of stuff.
Which
like,
was a lie, by the way.
yeah, but you go into this game, and how much is that absence gonna be missed? Someone like I know, like Yoon is very America loyal. He has came out and said that he was a fan as a kid, and that's probably the reason why he doesn't want to retire because he's like, oh, if I still have a chance, I want to win the championship, right? Understandable. Sometimes it goes against us, but in the field, but whatever. I get it. You know, is there a player that you think could feel the pressure of this Clásico and say, these are the games you have to win 100%? There's no tomorrow. It's this, and we're gonna die trying. Or do you think we're lacking that?
We're lacking that all around, like all over the pitch. We're lacking that 100%. But there are a few players that, if we're, saying that Thanos going to repeat that start 11, that will probably have that mentality. One, I'm looking at Lara since he's the only Canterano that's going to be fielding for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I look at Fidalgo to have that passion and energy
Yeah.
because he's said that before on numerous occasions. And I want to say Henry. Henry loves himself a Clásico. Let's just be honest, right?
Yeah.
Henry loves himself a Clásico, and so he's embedded himself in these colors more than anyone else out there on that pitch. So I think those are your three. But all in all, I think
That's about it.
yeah, that's about it.
which is a good thing that they're all starting then, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. You need
Like
that.
you
You need
should
that.
expect the intensity is coming out, and it's a positive that you have three players on three different positions, one in the attack, one in the midfield, and one in the defense. I would even say Israel Reyes, being a canterano of Atlas, might have that mentality too, saying I don't like those guys because of my academy experiences. So have to go in there and destroy them because that's the mentality I've always had. So I could see Israel Reyes stepping up too.
I mean, it's gonna be interesting, and it's definitely gonna be one to kind of keep an eye on. So I'm glad you kind of brought that up. And now let's focus a little bit more on the match. We talked about that, the terrible week that they're trying to hype up. And if you guys want to, see more into that, go follow the Club America page. And they're not really posting much on it because I think they're really not. I don't know if this was America's idea. I think they just kind of were like, okay, yeah, cool, we'll kind of play along, but they haven't really posted. They didn't post a podcast. They're barely posting a couple pictures here and there. Like it's really been more on the Chivas side of things because I think it's their home game. I'll be curious to see what America does in their home game next season in the Apertura. But as of right now, like we said, it's flat. We don't like it. I don't think the name needed to change either. But hey, we don't have a majority vote in here at all, Dylan, do we?
No, sadly we don't.
No, not at all. All right, let's focus on the game, gentlemen, right? This game is going to be a late one. It's going to be 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 for you, Dylan. And then for our friends on the East Coast, it's going to be 11 o'clock at night. I'd love Christian to be here to pick his brains on how he's going to stay up. Well, I kind of have an idea or two how he will, but it's a late game. It's a late game. And obviously, this all had to do with the time change. Mexico, I think, does their daylight savings this Sunday. We beat them ahead of time, and so that's why this game's going to be such a late time for everyone, really.
Should we
But that
expect
game's
a full stadium or no?
yeah, 100%. Well, no, yeah, 100%. I mean, it's
Because it's an away team and
a
they only
Clásico.
show up against us, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, technically, if you want to look at the track record, we're at home, but
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there. But this game's gonna be live on Telemundo, so make sure you guys check it out. If you guys are on the go and you guys don't have access to Telemundo, if you guys do have Peacock, make sure you guys check it out. It's gonna be available on Peacock as well.
Ivan will provide his login, so just message him on Twitter.
Exactly. And my login is actually, no, I'm not gonna say it out loud. But hey, someone's interested. DM me on Twitter, and then maybe, just maybe. But all right, gentlemen, late kickoff. The team actually already flew to Guadalajara, which is something weird, again, in the sense of this whole buildup of the Clásico. America actually landed in Guadalajara last night. What advantage or disadvantage does this actually do to us, Dylan? Do you think this gives us a heads up? We get to train a little bit more in Guadalajara, or does it really not matter whether or not we went so early or not?
I don't really see how it could matter, I guess, in a sense. I don't really see any pros and cons here. Like, other than maybe it just throws out their schedule a little bit, like Chris said. And I mean, because it's just like, we're already traveling in a sense. But yeah, so I don't really think it really gives a difference in traveling early. But that's neither here or there, like you say.
Yeah, and I think Cruz says right here, they got used to the weather, and that's about it. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's really just all about it. Like I don't know. I guess we'll see whether or not that plays into a factor. It shouldn't, but hey, who are we to say any of that? But we talked a little bit about the team, the fact that they're going to come into this one repeating the starting 11. How do we feel about Leo Suarez on that right-hand side, Chris?
Good, man. He's been really solid for us. I think a lot of people were very iffy about him returning. I was positive because I've always rated him. I always thought when he was with us, he wasn't a bad player like people painted him to be. I thought he had injuries, and that's when I believe Solari came in and said, "I don't like you, get out of here." And then he went to Santos, and from what Santos fan tells me, he was a key player for them. And mean, it doesn't really say much because I don't think they had that depth that they would like. But I did think, you know what, like if you're telling me Jurgen Damm or Leo Suarez, I kind of lean to Leo Suarez. You know, Sendejas needs to start these games, but obviously he's returning, so I'm cool with Leo Suarez starting. And then if he doesn't have a good game, at least Sendejas could play a good 30-25 minute, and I think he would be impactful too.
Interesting. I know, because I was gonna pose the question. I mean, how much minutes does Sendejas get in this one? I mean, it all would depend. I would imagine, right, how the game's going and how desperately you're in need of a goal. Um, but I do like Lil. I think he's been a little bit better than his previous iterations with us. I think Dylan. One of the things we kind of always lacked, like, or maybe tagged him for a negative, was the fact that he wasn't so fast. Right? He seemed a little bit slow at times. Now he feels a little bit more up to pace. I'm not saying he's the fastest winger out there, but he's looking a little bit better.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. We've said that in the past, Ivan, but yeah, just watching him, these past few times, dude, he does look like he's picked up his pace a little bit more, which is good to see because you in some sense, especially how Tano plays, you want to have that pacey winger, and so I think that can come in handy come Saturday.
And talking about Tano and how he wants to play, how do our boys go out into the Estadio Akron? Do you think that we go and we play that high press and try to dictate the play by playing possession? Or do you see a more reluctant America side to give Chivas the ball and try to get them on that counter using that pace of the wings?
That's how I feel. In all honesty, it's gonna go. If I can't remember when it was, but I remember one time we had kind of like said that like, oh no, like America's gonna go out and attack and take it to them. And then we get to the game Saturday, America's just sitting back, just waiting to catch them on the counter and everything. So I'm just like, so that's where I kind of am. I kind of hope not though, to be quite honest. But um, if I'm not gonna get, I guess in a sense, I don't know if my hopes is the right word to use here, but I'm not gonna expect this team in Donald to just come right out and just like take it to them right away.
Chris, do you agree or do you disagree in that sense? Or, can America manage this game properly and take the game to Chivas? Or is this a match where you think, well, because of the way they play, maybe you want to, try to pinch them on the counter?
The way Chivas players have been talking, I feel they're gonna try to be putting pressure on us, which I think is a mistake because we don't have the best offense just from scoring penalties or anything like that. We have a team that's able to counter, and I think that's what's gonna happen. I think you let Henry loose, you let Cabecita loose, you let Valdez loose, you let Los Suarez loose. They're gonna get scored on, and plus, they from what Chivas fans been saying this week, they don't trust their goalkeeper. So I think we're gonna put in the pressure, and I do think that's how the goals are gonna come in.
Can you guys imagine a game, right, where both teams are coming at each other, guns are blazing, both pressing, both leaving spaces, both leaving opportunities for both sides to kind of get into and run? I mean, you're talking about a crazy game. You're talking about a potential 3-3 like we got, in 2005. So it'd be interesting. From a America perspective, I think managing or controlling the emotions is going to be critical. You're looking at a midfield that's gonna have to find a way to dictate the tempo. I'm talking specifically Fidalgo, right? Richard does a very good job of kind of going in between center mid and center defensive mid, while Fidalgo kind of floats in that midfield and is supposed to kind of quote unquote pull the strings with his passing. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but sometimes Fidalgo's change of pace can dictate a little bit of how America goes forward. So I think he's going to have a lot of responsibility on his shoulder to manage the game properly, to kind of smoothen things out for America in the midfield and say, all right, we either change the pace and we go a little bit quicker, or we have to slow it down depending on how kind of Chivas are playing against us. So I think Fidalgo is probably going to be the most important player on the pitch. And Chris, I know that you said he didn't have the best of games against Tigres, but I do think that he managed the midfield ever so slightly okay at the Volcan. This is again another tough match in an away setting. Is for you guys Fidalgo the key player, or do you guys think there's someone else that needs to step up and have a good game in order to manage this game properly?
No, I think I definitely agree. I think whenever you look at this too, especially whenever we named off players that like have that passion and the fire for the Clasico, and you name Fidalgo especially, I think he's going to be very key, especially for the midfield and how he controls this thing. I do agree too. Whenever you say that he might not have the best of best games, whenever he played Tigres. But I feel like this time around, I think he's looked back at that game. He was like, yeah, I could have probably done this a little differently. I could have done this, but because at the end of the day, like we said, he knows what's at stake here. America could probably be like at the bottom of the damn table, but he knows he have to win this game, and he's all for it and ready for it.
Yeah, I agree too. I think if there's a place you don't want to make mistakes, it's going to be in that midfield because they asked us, right? Do we trust our defense? I trust our defense could stop their strikers because I don't think their strikers is that good. With that being said, if you put them in a vulnerable position, look, I don't trust them, and I think Fidalgo, Richard are gonna have to be more defensive because it's one of the thing about Tano's system, right? The both midfield, all three midfielders, Valdez, Fidalgo, Richard, they're going forward. So what happens when you go forward? You're gonna leave space in the back. Do I trust Cáceres? No. Do I trust Israel Reyes? Yes. But that's if I'm being honest, when it comes to those counters, I'm only really trusting one of the four defenders because even Lara has moments where he's just
Yeah,
for
Lara
whatever
scares
reason,
me. I'm not gonna lie.
and so does Chava Reyes. Chava Reyes when he's defensive, he looks like he's like about to fall down. That's how he runs, like he's about to fall down. And I don't like that, like in Lara, for whatever reason, he loses sight of the guy next to him, and then there he goes free. Right. The good thing for him is that he's very very fast for 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 his position. Right.
But you know what? It's because Lada's not a natural right back. He has so
Uh,
much.
he's a center back.
He's a center back, and you see that. That's why he loses his
Yeah.
mark when it goes wide because he has that tendency to kind of
Julio
float in the
Ibanez
middle
said
and try to
that.
cut. Yeah,
Julio Ibanez said that we view him more as a center back. That's the reason they were playing. Well, there's a lot of reasons why Layun was starting, and we could get into that, but maybe not right now. But but he's not a right back. The only
he's
reason we
not.
put him there is because we need one, and we couldn't get Julian Araujo, and we don't have foreigner spots. So who do we put there, right? That's why I'm against like bringing in a foreigner goalkeeper because it's like that's why I'm rooting for Malagon. Like hopefully you're the guy, bro, because there's no other Mexican, and Acevedo really isn't a that big of a solution if I'm being honest with you.
It's Ivan's
No,
favorite choice right now.
no, he's not. I think he is. He's very below in the X Factor charts where in regards to goalkeeping and saves and all that stuff. So yeah, no, Acevedo is he's not the deal for me. And
I hope Brian finds this spot and like calls you out like tomorrow or something.
I hope so as well. But shout out, thank you to Midwestern Cholo for the comment. Love that name, by the way. It, I think what Ricardo said here is quite interesting. Diego Valdez is the X factor. When he gets going, America is unbeatable. And I would have to argue that yes, when Diego Valdez is on form and when he sparks this attack, things happen, you know. And I think that's the frustration is that we know that he's capable of maybe potentially wearing that number 10, but he needs to be more consistent. And I guess these are the games where, I mean, you gotta kind of have to show it. Um, but you mentioned it very well, Chris. Right? Defensively speaking, our defense is shaky, and it has been. Just because we have one clean sheet against Tigres doesn't mean that all of our problems are solved. And I think Chivas is going to be the bigger test, right? Not just for the defense, but for Malagon. And you mentioned that also.
Yeah. If
So
Malagon does good though, like there's no reason for us to lose this game, like
no,
right? Because the whole thing about me and you had this podcast right where we talked about Oscar Jimenez and everything, and a lot of people didn't agree with us, right? Well, Malagon goes out there and has a great game. It kind of proves us right that yes, that 70-30 thing that a lot of people didn't agree with. Well, it was we exaggerated on the number. It's kind of leaning to that if he does a great job. If he doesn't, like if it goes through his hands or something like that, then we'll be more honest that like it's not just Oscar Jimenez, it's also Malagon, and we need to get a serious keeper out there.
I mean, you're right, and I think this is gonna be a true test for Malagon and whether or not he can control the nerves and show out. Like I said, he had a good game against Tigres. Now he has to back it up against Chivas, and like I mentioned, if he does, he's gonna um he's cemented himself for the rest of the season, I would say.
Yeah.
But all right, let's see here. We got another comment here. We definitely got to take advantage of their obvious offense on Saturday. They're gonna be bloodthirsty. We gotta stay focused, and I think that's something I alluded to, right? Being able to manage the game, manage the tempo, and like I said, the main guy in charge of that is gonna be Fidalgo. So we'll have to wait and see. Um, Anything else in regards to how this America side needs to go up against Chivas, play against them? Anything particular you guys want to see? I'm just still, I think I've kind of covered it all in the sense, or is there anything else to add on here?
Oh, I'll just add the same thing we've been adding for the past 2 weeks. Uh, Dano also needs to make the right subs, and those subs need to not be a reason why we lose. Because it's not just one reason why we've been struggling. I mean, like people will say, like we're exaggerating, we're not that bad. But if you look at the past seasons, we shouldn't be now trying to sneak into Liga. We should be talking about how do we get to the final? How do we win the final? Because how do we add these pieces to win that? Because since Piojo, we haven't really been that bad. We just needed to sign a player or players or coach to get us over that hump. And I think, God damn, I lost my thought. but but I think we will win this. We'll win on Saturday, man. That's all I'm gonna say. I think we'll win.
All right, I like it.
My bad. I lost my
Dylan,
thought completely.
nah, you're fine, you're fine. All right, Dylan, let's just kind of go with this here. Let's what are you gonna go with in regards to predictions for Saturday?
I think I'm gonna stick with my usual prediction. I'm gonna go with a 2-1 win for Medica.
All right. Chris, what are you going with?
2-1. I think we get scored on, but I think we're gonna be the dominant team. I think I'm just way comfortable with our offense. I think they also have very similar issues like us. They don't know which Wacho Jimenez is gonna show up. And at least for me, I know that Malagon inside of that league, inside of the Liga Mexicana, is a way better keeper. So I think 2-1. I think eventually there's a defensive mistake, but that's it. We still win. I think Valdez
Okay.
and Henry.
All right. I'm gonna keep it light and simple. I think we're going with a 1-0 victory for America.
That simple. You just want the clean sheet. That's all you want, man.
Hey, hell's yeah. You know that's what I want.
As long as it's not 0-0, man. Or we lose. But a 0-0, man, I would be so annoyed because of the whole media coverage and arriving there early and all that would be just very annoying to me. I think they prioritize more all the media thing than the game if it ends up 0-0. Hello?
Thank you, Chris.
Bro, I've been froze. I don't know what's going on.
Alrighty then. Hello?
Yo.
You're
I
good.
can hear you.
There was like a hell of a delay though.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, Dylan,
2 hours later.
keep it going. I'm gonna change. I'm gonna
Yeah.
I don't know what he said, but of course, he plans the low. Let's go live and record it. Okay, and then he's the one that leaves. So
Yeah. That's what happens when you do it live, brothers and sisters watching. We get rose.
I can't even pull up the comments, anything that we get to.
Oh, you can't? Oh,
No. So that's why I'm over here just like looking right now to see if anybody sent anything.
no, nothing. It didn't end, right? No, it didn't.
No, it didn't end. No.
Oh, yeah.
Crew Epicness said Aquino always scares me. LMAO. He gets too crazy and ends up getting a yellow without fail.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's also
yes.
he loses a lot of the ball, which is
Mhm.
kind of stupid in my opinion because whenever we put him in, it's to defend and recover the ball, but he loses it, and it's
Yeah, which doesn't make sense to me at all.
and
Whenever
that's
that
what I
happens.
meant. Like now I remember what I was ranting about. It's it's the subs. We make subs and nothing clicks. Like the Pachuca game, like I said, like we're talking about we had a good first half if we just take away the goals, but then second half we do subs and all of a sudden we're not the dominant team anymore. Now the chances of us scoring, and we can't have that against Chivas.
No,
It's a classico. They will like make us pay if it gets like that,
yeah,
and we will make them pay if it gets like that. But we
yeah,
can't go in there and it's the 70th minute and Thanos already thinking like, all right, we have the lead, go back, or we have the tie, go back. Like no, go in there, put in the right subs. I think Viñas and Brian Rodriguez are not training. They're not practicing with the team. Hopefully, we could get some news on that soon. Hopefully they're okay because even though I don't really rate Viñas, I do think we need another nine in case uh, injury happens or you need to go full on attack. So hopefully it's all good. And Brian Rodriguez has been injured, but the thing that he brings to the table that the other wingers don't is that he's more creative in my opinion, and he knows how
yeah.
to sneak in inside the box way better than Cabecita and Leo Suarez.
Yeah, and for me too, especially for this game, like even though I still think that America somehow will like some and Dom's be like, yeah, let's just kind of sit back, we'll catch them on the counter. My thing is though is that like I kind of want that counter goal just to kind of like rock Chivas a little bit, and especially the stadium to realize like, oh shit, like here's America, and then all of a sudden just Tano just kind of like in a sense like is like halfway to throw in the kitchen sink and just going to get that second one to keep them on their heels and everything, and hopefully grab that second one.
Welcome back, Ivan.
Thank you. No, we're good. We're good. I had myself unmuted for a second, but okay. What did I miss here?
So I remember what I was ranting about.
Yeah,
Okay.
Chris was saying how Rios is number second on his all time goalkeeper list for
Oh
America.
wow,
Yeah.
Rios. Okay.
First, that's where my memory starts. Nah, I'm just kidding. I have a shout out video that my uncle sent me from him, so he might be
Nice.
first because of that.
Hey, well, well, okay, gentlemen. And I'm glad you're talking about memories because the last segment I wanted to do was something a little bit interactive, and I'm glad that there's still people here watching, and I hope they kind of interact with us in this next segment to kind of close out the show. But I think as far as the game goes, we've kind of got our predictions. We talked about it, and we kind of have an idea of what we want to see the America side do. Will they, you know, implement it on Saturday? We'll have to wait and see. But is there anything else you guys want to add on before I kind of move on?
Can I tell a quick story since we're kind of getting into that memory stuff?
You have 5 minutes.
All right. Well, it won't be that long, but so my mom when I was younger, she worked at Hilton Hotel, right? And Chivas was there to have an game against Pumas. I think at Fullerton Stadium or something. And she told my dad to take me. Bro, I was, I don't know, maybe 6 years old, bro. I told Osvaldo Sanchez in his face, I don't even go for you guys. I'm an America fan. And my dad tells me that his face was just like shook. Like, I remember telling my dad, yo no le voy a ellos. Like, why are we here? Like, I didn't care at all about seeing any of them. I remember seeing Omar Bravo and all those guys. I'm just like, yuck, bro, get me out of here, bro. I don't care about these players. That's just, it's a short, funny story, but my parents always bring it up that Osvaldo Sanchez was like just there staring at me like, why did you bring this kid in? Like,
So you guys heard it here first. Chris has Osvaldo Sanchez shook to the core.
yeah,
So Osvaldo Sanchez, next time you see him, is on site.
yep. That's the reason he went to Santos. He's like, oh, that kid's gonna like me. This is a
Oh,
quick
man.
story. I just thought it was funny.
That was a good story. A good story in the end. But all right, gentlemen, enough about this Clásico Nacional on Saturday. Let's talk about and recap a little bit of the past. I saw America did, a quote unquote best 11 in the history, right?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wanted to do that with our recent memory and go position by position, and we'll do a four. What do you guys want to say? A 4-3-3? It's fair enough. We'll do a
Fever.
4-3-3, and we'll go through each position. And I want you guys to name who you guys would pick from that. Who you guys would put in that position that has
In our
given you
lifetime,
guys
right?
the
Who we
yeah
saw?
in your lifetime that you have seen, right? So we're not gonna be talking about Tan Ortiz. We're not gonna be. I mean, no, we did see Tan Ortiz. We're not gonna be talking about Alfredo Tena. We're not gonna talk about Cristobal Ortega or Saga because we didn't have the privilege to see them play, right? But I
Yeah.
want you guys to give me from each position the best player that you guys remember that give you guys one of the best memories in a Clásico Nacional that you guys thought played in very well week in and week out in the Clásico,
Damn, you
right?
put him on the spot, bro. Because
I know for
Yeah.
real. Like,
No, and that's the point. That's the point. And I want the
yeah,
chat. I want the chat to join in and give us the recommendations because these guys might stumble across a position that they don't really know. But if you guys have someone, throw it there, right? And let's start off from the beginning. Goalkeeper position, right from the from the get go. You guys know who I'm gonna pick, right? Guillermo
yeah.
Ochoa, hands down for me. That's
I
who
don't
I'm
know
going
her.
with. Who you, yeah, Dylan? Uh, I don't know. Just I think back to all the amazing saves that I saw him write, the amazing header that he stopped Paco Palencia in that 3-3, the, the you know the playoff matches between Chivas and his amazing save at the Jalisco. I mean, I can go on.
When he sat on the ball, remember that one?
Yeah, when he sat on the ball as well. I mean, for me, goalkeeper wise, it has to be Ochoa. For you guys, who you guys picking?
You want to go first, or I go first?
No, go for it.
All right, so I would go Ochoa too, but my reasoning more comes from the fact that my memory really starts when we faced the who was it, Necaxa in the final. So that's where my memory, like as an America fan, starts from there. So Adolfo Rios, I really didn't see that much, and then Ochoa just from there was just my whole childhood, right?
Yeah.
And then you really start to appreciate Ochoa once you get to Armando Navarrete, and then from there we didn't really have that many goalkeepers. I know that other goalkeepers get more praised, but I have to go with Ochoa just because he was also there during a very dark time for us, and he was like we always say in that America there was only two good players, and it was Cabañas and it was Ochoa.
Oh yeah, 100% agree. Ricardo on the other hand says Adolfo Rios over Ochoa, not even close. That was a great joke. Really, really good.
Second one's gonna make you laugh more.
And then he put Moy Munoz over Ochoa.
We no
I
love
like
for
it though.
Marquezine. Marquezine
then-
is closed.
I'll take Marche.
You take Marche?
And I say that because I never saw Ochoa's first stint with the club.
Okay. I'm curious. I thought you would have picked Moy Munoz.
Yeah, no, that's why I was sitting here because I was like, well, let me see what Chris says, and so I was like low key hoping he was gonna say like Marche, but I was like, so
It's just deeper for me for Ochoa
No, yeah,
because
yeah.
it's childhood. And for me, it's just like if you went through those Sunday afternoon games, and I know Ivan remembers them. It was during the whole swine flu thing moment too, where the stadium was all empty and we were fighting relegation, and you appreciate like those moments more. I know people say, "Oh, the Pachuca final," like he won other championships. That you can't really just blame everything on him either. I think you look at it, Canterano, and it's just for me, it's like it has to be Ochoa.
I agree. All right, let's move on from the goalkeeper position to the right back spot. This one I think has to be no brainer, like flat across the board. Everyone's gonna be picking this guy. It has to be Paul Aguilar.
Castro. Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
No. I was gonna pick him again for the nostalgia.
Not Gringo. That was Rojas.
No, Gringo Castro also played on the right.
Okay.
Oscar Rojas played on the left. But for me, I would go Paul Aguilar. I mean, no one has given us more iconic moments in a Clásico than Paul Aguilar. And his golazo will always be the golazo, and the dance will always be Dylan's dance. So, I mean, it's just, what more do you want? I think across the board, we can all agree it's Paul Aguilar, right?
Yeah, the most decorated right back in Mexican soccer history. If we're being honest, let's look at his whole career. He doesn't get enough praise just as being like even when his time in Pachuca. This overall, Paul Aguilar's one of the greatest right backs in Mexican football.
100%. So across the board, I think all right. Um, Center back partnership. What are you guys going with? I mean, but you guys got to think about who gave you guys. They don't have. They didn't have to play with each other. The center back partnership. I'm not saying that you have to pick, but like who gave you guys kind of the more kind of like okay, it's a classico. I know we got him in the back. We should be good, and kind of just give you that nostalgia or that kind of feeling that okay, he's rock
Mosquera.
solid. Mosquera. All right, I
I
like
don't
it.
know, bro.
Yeah.
So we had this conversation a while back about when it comes to center backs from Ochoa's time, they weren't that great, right?
No.
So for me, I would probably go Pablo Aguilar, just because I'm a big fan of people that could win the headers, either offensively or defensively. Very physical guy. I don't know if it's a popular opinion, but I would say Mosquera if it wasn't for the whole Arjen Reina thing.
Yeah. I would say
I'm-
yeah.
I don't know who that is. Yeah.
I would say I would think and I would say that if, from my perspective, it would be my center back partnership would be Mosquera, and I know this is gonna be controversial, but Bruno.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was gonna say pre-injury Bruno. Yeah.
Yeah, pre-injury Bruno. Yeah, oh,
Yes.
100%.
And I
Yeah,
think I'm going
100%,
Bruno too, honestly. But I'm not going most. I think it's controversial, right? Because Pablo Aguilar wasn't there that long, but stylistically, I was just a big fan. And Bruno's the same, similar player, just not as aggressive.
True. All right, now we'll go on to the left back position. Right, this is gonna be an interesting one, a tricky one at that. But if you had to pick someone, who would you pick? I'll start us off. I'm actually going Oscar Rojas
Okay.
because
Yeah.
of that golazo he scored in the Clásico in that 3-3.
Oh, what was that Brazilian's name that he played midfield, but then they moved to the left back because they didn't have
Rosinei?
nobody. Who?
Rosinei?
No,
Yeah.
not Rosine. No, it wasn't
William
him. Somebody
Da
else.
Silva.
Too.
No, you
Yeah,
mean,
there we go. Yes.
Was he a left back?
William da Silva? Yeah.
I thought it was Samudio during that time.
No. Samudio was injured. He was injured and
Yeah.
they put William da Silva there. For
Yeah.
God.
I
was
like
not
it,
a fan
Dylan.
of
That's
William.
Yeah. And I say that because, like you said, it's tricky, and I'm thinking back, I'm just like, who the hell played left back?
Yeah.
Because it's just like forgotten. It's like oh, let's just put this dude in right field.
Yeah. I like it.
No, I'm with you, Oscar Rojas. Oscar Rojas. I
Rojas?
think another guy that you just remember from those 05 teams, and yeah, I
'Cause
just have to
it
go
was-
with him.
It was either gonna be him or Aldrete.
I was gonna say Layun,
Oh,
but
yeah.
Layun only gave us one good year, bro. So I wasn't gonna pick him. But
Okay.
Layun, when he was on the left side, was really good for a year, and then he left.
He was.
But,
That's what.
Oh, what about
catapulted him to
Mahrez?
Europe.
nah,
Oh
no,
man,
get
it was right there. It was right there for me.
out of here, bro. Nah, bro.
I forgot. Oh man, he used to be the joke of this podcast for a while.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Okay, I like it. All right, center defensive mid. You guys gotta have your rock solid center defensive
Guido.
mid. Guido Rodriguez. I like it.
Guido
Okay,
Rodriguez.
I like it. Chris
Who was more defensive mid, Pavel Pardo or Germán Villa?
Pavel.
Yeah, I'm going Pavel Pardo.
Damn it. Okay, I don't want our teams to be too similar, so I'm gonna have to go with someone else.
Also.
Cuauhtémoc.
You know who did a good job at center defensive mid and a little bit underrated? He didn't really play too much center defensive mid, but I think Negro Medina.
Oh no, you're not supposed to pick
Yeah.
him. That was my next pick in the midfield.
You can still pick him, but
Well,
you
no,
know.
it's too late. I'm not gonna repeat
defensive
it.
mid.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, Jesus Molina was a little bit more defensively, but I think he stepped in whenever he had to. But you know what? You're right. He wouldn't fit the center defensive mid role. Damn, you took a good one there. You know what? I'm still yours too. I'm put Guido Rodriguez. I saw him against Manchester United, and I was like, damn, I miss him so much.
Yeah, I was just a big Pavel Pardo fan because when it came to free kicks, I'm taking him every single time, bro. So I was just a big
All right. Okay, center mid. Who's one of your center mid?
Medina.
Medina's got to be Medina. All right, for
Yeah.
you, Chris.
Germán Villa is one.
Germán Villa is one. Okay,
Germán
for
Villa.
me, I'm going.
No one
I'm
picked
going
Edson.
Osvaldito. I'm going. I'm going. No. Oh yeah. Huh?
It's
I could have put accent. Goddamn. No, I'm still sticking with Guido. I'm going with Osvaldito Martinez.
I
That's a good
wasn't a
one. Yeah.
fan of Osvaldito,
I
bro.
just remember that penalty that
Oh,
he drove
get out.
against Chivas.
Get
Just
out.
boom.
Yeah. I get. I wasn't a fan because he wore a 10, bro, and he wasn't a 10. So
Yeah.
I would just had a very
Just
biased dislike.
now remember, it's these aren't don't have to be the best America players ever that have ever fielded for us, but that's giving you the best memories against the
Yeah.
Chivas, you know. So and
Oh, against
Osvaldito,
Chivas, and this is
yeah.
the whole list. This whole time I thought it was in my lifetime.
No, in your lifetime against Chivas, you know.
Okay,
So
okay.
for me, 100%, I think Osvaldito is one of my midfielders. All right, who's your second midfielder?
Yeah, screw it. Give me Uribe.
Yeah.
Uribe. All right, I
Yeah.
like it. It's a good one. Chris.
Yeah, Matos Uribe too.
All right, I'm going with Cuauhtémoc Blanco. Kind of
It's
hard not
kind of
to, right?
yeah. It's
I was
kind
gonna
of
put him
I
as a
was
center
stressing.
forward. I was gonna put him as a false nine or on the wing.
No, I'm put him in the midfield. I think he orchestrates perfectly.
Well, if that's the case,
So
I'll go Cuauhtémoc too. But yeah, I'll go Cuauhtémoc to midfield because it
all
makes
right,
more
all
sense.
right. Left wing, Dylan.
This might not make a whole lot of sense, but I'm gonna go Luis Gabriel Rey.
Okay, doesn't have to
Yeah.
play left wing, but he could play left forward. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Piojo
Yeah,
Lopez.
didn't he have that hat trick? I can't remember what year it was. Wasn't it him? Or he had like a
Yeah,
badass
yeah. It
game
was
against them.
yeah. I think it was a hat trick or 2 goals. I can't remember, but yeah,
Yeah.
he had an amazing game. You went Piojo Lopez. That's a good
Piojo
one.
Lopez.
It should be.
Yeah.
Anything else is the wrong answer.
Or you could go Navia. If we're going off of Chivas games against Chivas, you could go Navia.
Interesting. All right, I'm gonna put someone that's a little controversial, but I think for me on the left hand side, well, he could do more on the right, but I'm gonna put Angel Reina.
Oh God.
It's controversial to me. I think people don't show him love because of how he left, but I think
He
Very
balled,
Oh yeah.
100%
He
balled.
did.
So I'm putting Angel Reina. I'm putting him on the left. On the right, Dylan, who you going with?
on the right.
ooh, okay. I know someone that could have gone on the left, but I'm gonna put him on the right.
I'm gonna pass. Can I pass for now? I'm still thinking.
Pass.
I had
Go,
two,
Chris.
but I think I'm gonna go with this guy, Sambuesa.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think I'll
Damn
put
it.
him on the right because I don't think you leave out Pio. I was gonna say Clever, but I think you have to go Sambuesa.
Yeah. I was gonna go Sambu too.
Yeah.
It's hard not to. I mean, it's been hard to replace that right hand side ever since Sambu.
Then him and Cuauhtémoc, bro, in the
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I that's why I'm putting Sambu there.
yeah. So am I.
Dylan.
Right. I'm still over here thinking. I was like, damn.
El Quick Mendoza, bro. He scored.
Oh yes, there we go. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll take
Okay.
a quick. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
gonna take it quick, Mendoza. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Striker wise, all right. This is the one position I want everyone to choose a different name. So striker wise, I'm gonna throw it to you first, Chris, and then I'll have Dylan go, and then I'll go, and then that way the team isn't too same.
I'm going Cabañas.
Damn it, I knew you
I'm
would go
going
Cabañas,
Cabañas.
but okay.
Yeah.
All right, Cabañas it is. Dylan,
Taking Chucho.
Chucho, I like it. Very good. And I'm going Raúl Jiménez.
Yeah, I'm not mad.
Yeah.
Over
Can't go wrong with
Zamorano.
I didn't see him play, so I can't tell you that
Oh, okay.
that was that. But I don't know. Henry's up there.
Yeah.
He's up there, but I think you still go Raul because he scored in that 4-1 game. No, he scored.
Yeah.
2 goals.
But I don't know. Now I'm debating because
You could
Henry.
go Peralta. You could go Peralta. If we're
Or you can even go
choosing-
Peralta.
Oh
too.
yeah.
Yeah, you could even go
yeah.
Peralta.
You could go Peralta.
It's difficult. It's difficult because you know what? I'm just gonna stick with my first choice. I'm going Raúl Jiménez. Going Raúl Jiménez.
I wish someone was like drawing it up how our teams ended up, but
I am. I'm gonna do some graphics and then we'll post them on Twitter and then people can debate on there as well whether they agree or not with.
they're gonna be
what
so
we did.
confused by Quick Mendoza.
Yeah. They're using
And
the
William
silver
Da Silva-
left back.
Dylan's team is just 100% random. I love it. Oh
Oh man.
man. Okay. Alrighty then. Well, I mean, I'm happy with that, right? I mean, I think any all our sides can play and beat Chivas. Simple as that.
The
So
creativity on our teams, bro,
yeah, literally.
destroys Ponce and whoever Mozo.
And yeah, and Mosso. Um, I like it. Rick says, Ivan, they're gonna riot at your list, and rightfully so. That's the point of it. So, um, all right. I mean, that pretty much wraps it up here. I mean, I'm surprised no one said Darwin Quintero either.
They did. They did for Darwin Quintero.
Oh yeah. Oh
Screw
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
guy.
say Quintero, Dylan.
Oh
Oh
man.
Someone
man.
should have said
Dude,
Chema Cardenas just because the homie goes for Santos. He just start naming every player we got from them.
And then I love Ricardo saying Bruno and now Angel Reina Ivan with some bad takes here. He's
I'm
gonna-
not mad at the Bruno one though. Like, I understand why like, people would say Aquivaldo, but that
because he was badass. That's
yeah,
why
but
he
we play with three center backs during that time, so it's like, do you take Massa too, or you take Diego Reyes?
I was this close to saying Massa. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I was too, but then I just remembered like they played with three center backs. Like
No, I was gonna say Topo Valenzuela.
Yeah, you should have.
he wasn't bad though. He wasn't bad with us either though.
I think, but it helps to have that three center back partnership. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pupa
Yeah. So.
Pimentel. Bro, if
Oh,
Eddie
yeah.
was here, he would have had the most mean starting line ever. He would have
He
Chucho
would have had.
Lopez in there.
He had Chucho Lopez, and he would have had El Hobby Bermudez too. There, I was. Oh man. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up for us here. I hope you guys enjoyed that last little segment. I think I wanted to end it like that just to kind of give some laughs and giggles to go into this and kind of, give some perspective as to, these clásicos that whilst it has died off a little bit, the flame is still much alive in our hearts and in our memories of what these games of past mean to us. So again, this game is a must win, do or die for America. I know someone said there, if Tano loses this one, that he should be fired. I don't think that's the case, but he will be in a huge hot seat if he is. So we'll see. America desperately needs the points. It's a 6-point game, no doubt about it, right? You're literally going up against someone that's on top of the league of you, and if you win this game, then you substantially climb the table. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. But all right, gentlemen, before we wrap it all up, anything else you guys want to say before we kind of shut the lights off here?
Nah, I mean, just ready for Saturday. It's gonna be late. Luckily for us, we're on the West Coast, so it's not gonna be late. It's gonna be perfect time for us. But
100%.
for everyone else, drink your Starbucks or your Dunkin' Donuts, whatever you guys drink on the other side. Enjoy the game and make sure to go to church on Sunday if you want to. If we win.
if you want to.
If you want to.
And if you do, send us a picture of you going to church with your America jersey on.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, and send us the food you're gonna eat. I want to see what you guys are eating. I know everyone. It's a special day. It's a clásico day, so I know everyone's gonna make some carne asada or whatever. But send us your food. Send us pics with your family. Just send us good vibes before the disaster.
Of course. Alrighty then. Well, with that said, Dylan, anything else?
No, I'm good, man. We've accomplished something in a long time. It's going live, so
Yeah, that's right. It's a big milestone in our return. But well, first of all, I want to say thank you to you guys coming out here tonight and helping me with this podcast. And I want to say thank you to every single one of you guys out there who was commenting and who was watching us in our live stream. Midwestern Cholo, still love that name. Our buddy Thick Ricardo with the hilarious takes. Crew Epic. I'm not gonna try to pronounce that, but you know who you are. Epicness. Okay. See,
epicness. Yeah.
I don't talk gangster anymore. I'm gonna be a father soon, so that's
I was like, English isn't my first language, so
it's not.
When the baby's here, you know how they have those videos on TikTok where the kid throws the ball and it lands on a bucket and it has two teams right there, and then whichever gets.
Oh yeah.
You need to do that, bro. You need to
I
do
will.
that.
And we'll do it. And we'll live stream it too. Just to kind of raise the stakes. but we'll see. But all right. Also, one last huge shout out to my girl's family who is in Guadalajara right now. They'll be at the game. They're all 100% Chivas, so I'm gonna have a lot on the line here, guys. So pray for me. All right, America, I really need you to pull through for me. But no, really, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Make sure you guys go follow us over on Instagram and Twitter at EOI Podcast. We'll be covering this game. AG does an amazing job with the gifts and with the goals and all that stuff. We'll have you guys with reactions and everything within this game again. And we'll be back next week to recap and talk about what happened in this matchup and get you guys ready for the international break and all that good stuff. All righty then, gentlemen. With that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Take care. And as always, Arriba America. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was another production of the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 source for all things Club America in English. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Eagle Eye Podcast and get all the latest news and coverage. And subscribe to our podcast wherever it is you may listen.